Back now on America's Forum, J.D. Hayworth here on the anchor desk. Larry Elder out at Newsmax LA, and we are going to talk healthcare now as Obamacare once again is on the docket of the highest court in the land. Today, the Supreme Court examining a portion of the law which governs the provision of federal subsidies for the program's beneficiaries in the 34 states that chose not to establish their own exchange programs. If the Supreme Court strikes this down, 5 million people will no longer be able to receive their subsidies. So, would a decision to invalidate that bring us closer to real health care reform? Let's talk about it with the president and co-founder of the Citizens Council for Health Reform, calling in from St. Paul, Minnesota, Twila Brase. Twila, it's good to have you back, and I guess this is the third court challenge. What's your take on what may transpire today?
Well, I think the important thing to understand in today's hearing is that if the court rules for the plaintiffs, which instead of for the government, it means that there will be winners in 37 states. So at issue is the fact that the government is providing Obamacare subsidies through healthcare.gov in 37 states that do not have a state-based exchange. However, the law says that the subsidies can only be issued through a state-based exchange, and there's only 13 of those plus Washington, D.C. So if the Supreme Court rules for the plaintiffs, for King, what it means is that the people in 37 states and the employers in 37 states will be free from the mandates and the penalties, because the mandates and the penalties only kick in if there are subsidies available. And if the court rules for King, there will be no subsidies available in the 37 states, and therefore there will be freedom from Obamacare, at least from the mandates and the penalties, in those 37 states.
Twila, the plaintiffs are saying that the straight reading of the statute clearly says that these tax credits only go to states that set up the exchanges. And I've seen videotape of Jonathan Gruber Unplugged where he used the verb squeezed. And he said it was designed to squeeze states into setting up these state exchanges, which implies that states have an option of not setting them up. Therefore, it seems to me a straight reading of the law is that Congress did not intend for these tax credits to go to the federal exchanges.
That's correct. And I think even the Obama administration is a bit worried about it, because that's exactly what the text. So the plain reading of the law says that. So they're trying to argue that the Congress had a different intent. And, you know, that would be very concerning if the Supreme Court rules that we look at intent rather than a straight reading of the law. Because as soon as a Congress decided, or the leadership of Congress, or the president in some future situation decided that, you know what, we don't like how the law reads, we're going to base what we do on what we call intent. And so then we lose the complete rule of law in this country. So that would be a very bad decision.
And Twila, you know that apart from jurisprudence, politics is always involved in this, and the talk from the Obamacare supporters is, if you take this away, suddenly millions are without a subsidy. Explain why that's not such a bad thing in the minute we have remaining.
Well, there's going to be pain no matter what. So there's been pain with the implementation of Obamacare. There will be pain for the 6 million people that would lose those subsidies, but there will be less pain for the taxpayers who don't have to pay them. What we really have to do is look at the long run, which is the picture that we have to get back to health freedom. The only way to get back to health freedom is not to expand Obamacare. If Congress decided to actually keep those subsidies running, they will have expanded Obamacare above and beyond what Obamacare is as it currently states in law. So we don't want Republicans to decide to help Obama expand Obamacare. We want to move the other direction, which is back to freedom. And we don't want to have all these people in the 37 states taxed. And for people who are, you know, wondering about whether or not they have to comply with the taxes currently, they can always go to our website, because we've got a whole thing up about the IRS, and it's at cchfreedom.org.
cchfreedom.org with a citation of that website. That's where we'll have to leave it. Twila Brase, we thank you again for your input. And Larry Elder out of Newsmax LA, thanks for a great first hour. Hour 2 of America's Forum is coming right up.